getting ready to fire up the daily draft report again. So I got to get used to podcasting again by myself.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's why I asked what I'm doing today, because I was like, is it already we were doing the rookie report stuff? I was like,
nope, not yet. Hopefully, right the day after national championship, I think that's what I'm shooting for. A couple weeks earlier this year, because last year I kind of felt like I ran out of time. And this year's class, I feel like, is deeper.
I felt like you hit people though, because I remember getting on towards the back end and hitting some deeper guys.
Yeah. So I think this class will be more fun, and I'm gonna do some more special things. Like toward the end, I started filling up different days with different things, like mock draft Mondays and face off Fridays and shit like that. So I might start doing some of that a little earlier in the year, and kind of trying to get some guys on to do some different stuff instead of just a straight up draft every day. Like one guy. But that is kind of fun. It makes you go deeper. This defensive class is actually not as good, but the offensive is, holy shit, it's fun. I mean, there's 15, 20 running backs I can talk about off the, just like on a whim. Like there's so many running backs. So.
It's a deep running back class. I don't think the wide receiver group is that deep. I think it's relatively shallow, actually, in my opinion. Like it's high end talent, and this is a huge gap, But the same level of high end talent each year has, 4 guys you're really excited about, maybe 5, and there's like a 6 maybe. But then like after that, it's like a huge fall. It's like whatever.
Right. All right. We usually try to keep it pretty close to a half hour, so it should usually not too hard to do. So we'll see. All right, you ready, bud? Am I introducing you as J. Michael Vallerie? Is that all right?
You can just introduce Mike Vallerie. I've just been doing that because I found out that J. Michael Sturdivant is actually just Michael Jr. He just puts a J in front.
I like it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of cool. But I would have called you the second J. Mike because J. Mike Check is my J. Mike. So I've known him as J. Mike forever. So when you came out of that, I'm like, whoa, slow down here, buddy. So like you're not the new J. Mike. No. All right. And I'm also coming off, like, I've had a flu for about 2.5 weeks now, so I think I'm finally getting over it. Like it's been a rough 2 weeks, man. I like cold, fever, tired, just sleeping all the damn time, throat burning like hell. So this is finally the first day where it's not too bad. So
we're gonna have some bad weather tomorrow too. You better stay inside.
Yeah, I'm not too thrilled about being stuck inside with all my family for 3 days, but I guess it's Christmas, right?
Right.
All right, so with that, everybody, welcome into the Devy Big Board as part of the Rookie Big Board Network. I'm your host for the evening, Dwight Peebles. Skip is unable to make it. He had to leave town a little bit early to beat the incoming terrible weather. Instead of Skip, I am joined by a special guest. You may know him from the Back to Devy podcast on the Campus to Canton feed, Mr. Michael Vallerie. Michael, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing well, and I'm doing a little better now that I get to spend time with Dwight.
Oh, thanks, man. I know I kind of miss talking to you. I had it in my head today to come up with some crazy ass questions for you, like you used to do on the the after shows for the for Devy debate, and I just totally blanked on it. So I was going to come up with some crazy questions for you. I don't have any off the top of my head. So
dude, don't worry about it. It'll come. Magic just comes to you in the moment. Don't worry about it.
I failed. Yeah, you'll get enough of my bad dad jokes. So, all right, on today's show, we're going to talk about the transfer portal and then a few notable performances from the bowl games. First off, I want to let you guys know the ridiculous value of being a Rookie Big Board patron. If you didn't make the fantasy playoffs or want to get ahead of your league mates, look now to your 2023 rookie drafts with us. You become a yearly patron for 15% now. That is just $30 a year, which is cheaper than a trip to the therapist after your holidays and your fantasy playoffs. Much cheaper. Even with a copay, it's probably cheaper. All right, if you want to win a fantasy championship next season, you need the valuable resources offered by the Rookie Big Board team at patreon.com/Rookie Big Board. First up, we'll do a couple little news clippings here. Wanted to make it is official. Bijan Robinson is entering the draft. No real surprise there. But there was a couple flips. Today was National Signing Day when we were recording this, and kind of the notable one today was Austin Novosad flipping from Baylor to Oregon. I think that's huge for Oregon. What do you think about that, Mike?
No, I loved it. It was huge. Oregon's building something special there. We saw the resurgence of Bo Nix, but they're getting some high-end defensive talent. They're bringing in a high-end receiving core talent too, and they had their QB for the future. Oregon is going to be exciting for, years to come.
Yeah, it's kind of they're getting a kind of the run of the West Coast there with UCLA and USC coming, this into the Big Ten. It kind of leaves that West Coast open for Oregon and whatever Utah decides to do. So it's kind of curious to see how much they can build out there. So this was a huge one. I mean, I know the Campus to Canton guys, particularly Matt Bruning's really, really high on Nova Said. A guy I don't know a whole lot about, but what I've seen, that boy can sling it. So it's a really good get for Oregon. He gets to sit behind Nix for a year and learn and take right over. Then another huge, huge flip. This one was kind of a surprise. Dante Moore flipped from the aforementioned Oregon to UCLA. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this. I don't love UCLA from a standpoint, but it's got Chip Kelly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love Chip Kelly here. I am a little worried about Dante Moore too because they tend to run dual threat quarterbacks here, and not that he can't be a dual threat guy, but he's just not what I picture of DTR. I don't think he has that in him. But if they can make this offense more into a passing offense rather than what they've been doing lately, then yeah, I do love it. So I'm not overly worried about it. UCLA does make quality players. You just said Chip Kelly. We love the head coach. So I don't want to dig too deep into it and dig myself into a hole and just get into a giant circle. I think this is just a good player going to a good coach at a good school.
Right, and there's got to be a lot of NIL, a lot of money. I would think at UCLA getting ready to go into the Big Ten, that huge conference, all that money for the TV contract. That's what I'm trying to think of. But I'd like to see UCLA make some more moves on the recruiting trail and the portal and stuff. They've been kind of quiet other than that. So a little surprising. There was rumblings in my neck of the woods of him going to Michigan State, which I thought was the silliest thing I've ever heard. Like, why in the hell would Dante Moore go to Michigan State?
Right. Well, we had I'm just giving a little tidbit here at Campus Canton recruiting team. There's a 3-star receiver that we're in love with that committed to Michigan State today. It's Jalen Smith. I don't know if you heard the guys talk about him, but he came from the same high school as Matthew Golden. He looks underrated to me on tape. I haven't did my full grading, but he looks underrated.
Yeah, Michigan State's, I think their class is 24th or 25th. They're actually pretty good shape. Had several 4-stars. We're not, we don't typically get 5 stars, but we've got some 4 stars. We got a couple really good guys from the JUCO. I think we got the number 1 ranked JUCO lineman, interior lineman, I believe.
And I think you got the Kindholz flipped over, right, from Washington to MSU. Well, he didn't full on right in, but he did a commit, right?
Right, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm trying to.
And Kind is definitely solidified in our top 10 quarterbacks. Might be in front of Novosad, obviously, too.
Right, and they still have a lot of people liked Caton Hauser from last year, even. So, yeah, it's definitely looking up a little bit there. So, we don't get too optimistic in our neck of the woods. We're definitely more of a basketball school, but we definitely love to at least field a 8-9 win team would be nice instead of getting trounced every year by everybody. So,
yeah, same here for Kentucky. We're always getting our hopes up, but we don't really get the high end recruits. We got to go to the portal for that.
Yeah, and speaking of the portal and Kentucky, we'll cover a couple quarterbacks first. These are guys that I wanted to mainly just focus on guys that are probably on Devy teams or that you should be looking for possibly adding in your Devy drafts coming up. Speaking of, he was the number 1 quarterback in the portal. Devin Leary goes from NC State to Kentucky. What do you think about that, Mike?
I love it. I have no idea what happened this year with his production. I really don't. Zero clue. Me and Corey talk about how we have no idea what happened to it. But 35-5 the year before, only quarterback to do that. Really efficient. He was definitely buzzed here at our company talking about how he's like the Devy sleeper quarterback. Right. Obviously, we're wrong about that. That's for sure. But QB1 going to Kentucky, we have nice young pass catchers in Barry and Dayton Key. We have a very nice 4-star coming in. We'll see what he does. But our offense our receiving core is looking really good, and it just feels good to finally have a passer in the pocket because we've struggled finding quarterbacks for years. What Levis gave us hope. Devin Leary is my QB1, everyone's QB1 in the portal. So I'm excited as a fan. And then for Devy purposes, I feel good about Barry and Brown's continued development. Without a quarterback throwing to him, I'm worried about the production profile, but that worry can be put to bed.
Yeah, they're building a really nice offense. We'll talk about another guy later. And then they always have a pretty good defense. They always have one of those guys that one of those defenses that doesn't have, a lot of superstars. occasionally they get one or two, linebackers or corners or whatever that'll get in the NFL, but just one of those units that plays a lot better than their star level or whatever, however you want to call it. I love Kentucky, so I love their uniforms. I love what they do down there. So Sky is definitely looking up for you guys. I like that. So
yeah, and we get our OC back from the Rams. So hopefully he picked up some stuff from Sean McVay, and Liam Cohen brings over some of that magic. So I'm ready to get hurt again, Dwight. I'm ready to get hurt again.
It's a mantra in some of us schools. I don't know what it'd be like to root for a school that wins every year, like Georgia or something. That'd be annoying. So, all right, next one. We'll quickly glance on DJU. He's still in the portal, although he wasn't seen in the Hawaii area today, I guess. So, I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but who knows? I mean, he just wants some playing time and put up some crazy numbers. Hawaii, maybe? I don't know. Got anything on DJU? He's more or less dead to me at this point.
I mean, that's a huge fall from grace, being a 5-star quarterback, having that size, that arm talent. I saw him post his commitment coming soon. It had Oregon on it, Oregon State, and Hawaii. I can't imagine Oregon really wants him at all, just because of recent events. They have no need for him. Oregon State does have a hole. But like you just said, they saw him in Hawaii, and that is a travesty.
That'd be crazy. Although maybe he can put up those crazy numbers. I don't know. Remember the old Hawaii quarterbacks that would throw for like 9,000 yards and 70 touchdowns or whatever it was. Maybe that's a bit extrapolated, but
but I won't be staying up late to watch that. I'm telling you that.
No, no. All right, this is another just kind of a blip. A lot of people probably have Haynes King on Devy rosters somewhere. He's going to Georgia Tech. I don't have any high hopes for him resurrecting his career or his Devy value at this point. If someone out there has some sort of interest, get rid of him. I don't know. That's kind of what I think. You got anything?
No, I think he's just transferring there to get that good education. Georgia Tech looks a little bit better than Texas A&M, so I think that's a fine career move for him for his future.
Right, I really like this one. Jacoby Criswell, if I can say his freaking name, went to Arkansas. Now he's going to have to sit behind KJ Jefferson for another year, but I like that a lot. His skill set is actually, I'm not going to say similar to KJ Jefferson's, but he's a guy that's got that dual threat, big arm. I mean, a lot of people thought that he should have started at North Carolina over Drake May last year. Like, he had a great spring. So I think it's a great get for Arkansas. Arkansas is another team that seems to be trending up, and Criswell's definitely a what do you call it? Two-way player, not two-way. What the hell?
Dual threat, baby.
Dual threat. There you go. I'm not good with language. Hooked on phonics.
I'm worried about his eligibility. He's been around for a minute as a backup, and now he's going to be a backup again. Right. But he's definitely flashed. So not too worried about that. I'm just worried about Arkansas is getting that return on investment, So I think he's a guy that's kind of ready to go. And so I was a little, I don't want to say disappointed, but a little disappointed to see that he has to sit another year.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him gone. Maybe the G5 route somewhere where he could play right away. That could get him those big numbers. But yeah, and I don't know. I don't even worry about eligibility anymore, Mike. I think they have we can get a guy 9 years now, right?
Yeah, there's no rules. It's just...
Yeah, it's like the points and whose line is it anyways. It doesn't matter. Kyron Drones, another guy who was a freshman last year, came in with a little bit of buzz. Dual threat guy is going to Virginia Tech. I mean, doesn't move a whole lot on the needle for me. Another guy that does, Nick Evers, goes to Wisconsin. You'd have thought he'd have learned from the guy after us on that list. So I don't know. Do you have anything about Nick Evers going to Wisconsin or Drones at Virginia Tech? Like, it's
so Nick Evers was a big name for us in the freshman guy. He definitely has some really good tools. He has a little bit of an attitude issue. A lot of people comp him to Baker Mayfield, for everyone unfamiliar with him. But he goes to Wisconsin, who's got a new coach, Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell brings in Phil Longo. Phil Longo has played a role in Sam Howell, Drake May, so in that UNC offense. So yeah, I actually am very excited about this. I think Wisconsin could finally be a exciting team to watch besides just their running backs. Like, they can be a little bit more exciting to watch. So Nick Evers is someone for sure you want to, depending on how deep you are, you want to add him onto your rosters, keep your eye on. He's done nothing wrong. He's just young. He's just going to his second year. So
right. Yeah, and he's going to be the starter. I mean, I don't think there's any way he's by far the most talented quarterback on that roster. So I just worry a little bit about it. I know they have the offensive changes, but I worry about pass catching weapons and, getting that team that has always had really strong offensive lines and strong running backs. So if you can add a quarterback and a couple receivers in there, I mean, that could instantly be one of the best balanced offenses in the country, like quickly. So there is a shot there. Then the guy he's replacing, Graham Mertz, going to Florida. I know he's probably on a lot of our Devy rosters, but I don't think going to Florida moves the needle at all for me.
No, he's definitely flashed though, statue in the pocket. But for Florida, they haven't had a good passer for a while either. I think Kyle Trask was the last one that was exciting. He's definitely a better passer than Anthony Richardson. But I'm not really excited about their pass catchers there at the moment either. So, but it's I'm hoping to see a little more out of Florida this year because their performance on offense is pretty bad.
Right. Well, Napier didn't have a lot of pass happy teams. So maybe he just wants a steady quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over, and it can push the ball a little bit if they need to. So it may end up being a good fit, but I don't think it's going to do anything for his Devy value. So,
right, I'm with you there.
All right, running backs, kind of an odd one here. Jalen Knighton went to SMU. He was a guy who got a lot of buzz last offseason, I felt like, as somebody who could emerge in Miami's backfield, and then he goes to SMU to join a backfield. It's rumored to also have LJ Johnson, and already has, who is already there? Why am I drawing a blank?
Kamar Wheaton, Sigger, Levine.
Kamar Wheaton, there you go. Yeah. So it's a very crowded backfield on a team that loves to run the ball, but I don't know if Knighton's the most talented one there. It's kind of an odd move, I thought. But a guy who at one point had some Devy value.
Yeah, I was never in on him. I wrote him up for the Devy guide. He was a very, very low tier player for me. He didn't offer enough down the middle, and even as a pass catcher, wasn't really that dynamic. I don't think he touches the field here. I don't. I'd rather have Kamar Wheaton, who I know hasn't shown enough, but I think he just gets lost in the depth chart. SMU just keeps collecting guys, and then they see whoever wins in the camp. They collect them and they spit one out. That's like mediocre. So I don't think it'll be Knighton.
Throw it to the wall, see what sticks. All right, another guy who just might stick is why am I drawing? Sean Tyler goes from being the top guy at Western Michigan, who I think would have been a lot more valuable for him, to heading to Oklahoma State to be presumably the lead back there. I'm trying to pull up I don't know. I like Ollie Gordon quite a bit. The freshman came out last year. Had a couple flashes. I think Gordon's much more talented than Sean Tyler, so this was kind of an odd move for me as well.
Yeah, I think this is he's gonna hold back Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon's a bit slender. I think his peak comp would be Rashad White. So seeing them bring in Sean Tyler, I don't think Sean Tyler is gonna get the full workload. I just want to know how much workload he's gonna get because that's taking away from Ollie Gordon and what he can demonstrate for us. So a lot of these guys leaving, I actually want to a lot of these guys leaving, I think, are opening the doors or closing doors for other guys. Not that they're actually being the impact themselves, but just to backtrack, don't mean to backtrack, but Jalen Knighton, him leaving opens the door now for Javonte Citizen coming back from the ACL tear that we loved in the offseason. Sean Tyler here is getting in the way of Ollie Gordon. We don't care about Sean Tyler. We care about Ollie Gordon. So, that's how these transfer portals start, shake things up, which is good and bad.
Right. Another smaller, fast guy. I love Travion Cooley going into Louisville, and he never really broke into the starting rotation much. Now he's heading to Georgia Tech, where presumably he'll be one of the lead backs. So I like it a lot. He may be milling around on some Devy rosters somewhere in deep leagues, but I like it as far as an opportunity standpoint. But I think he's a little bit smaller guy, and I'm not sure what to expect of him there. Kentucky picks up Ramon Davis, who looked. I mean, we've had I think Matt Bruning is also a fan of Ramon, as well as I have been in the past too. I'm not prepared for this for some reason, but 5'9", 215-pound guy. He did rush for over 1,000 yards for Vanderbilt last year. A pretty good complete back. He had 30 pass receptions last year. And Kentucky loves to feature backs. So I actually really love this spot for especially CFF. And if he wants to get some Devy value, I mean, I can see him, gaining some value in Kentucky.
No, absolutely. I'm with you there on that. Ray Davis was prolific his freshman year in Temple, then just kind of went AWOL for a while. There's different variables. There's injuries. There's coaching staff. Gets his resurgence here in Vandy. And I got to say, he struggled against strong defenses early, but down the stretch, though, really came on strong, made Kentucky look bad. But going to Kentucky, I agree with you. I think he can get, like day 3 draft capital, but that's like a peak. Because we do put guys in the NFL. You got Benny Snell there at Pittsburgh. He's very slow. We got Chris Rodriguez going to the Senior Bowl. So I do think this is probably the best route to get to the NFL for him as far as what I expect out of him. Maybe a backup that you can plug in when there's injuries. But and there's nobody on our roster that's going to be the lead back. I mean, it's very clearly Ray Davis. You don't have to worry about that. We don't really have a deep running back room.
Yep, I love it. Last guy we'll touch on real quick. Byron Cardwell went from Oregon to Cal, which just started to rely on Jaden Ott this year, a freshman who had a hell of a good season and looked like a pretty good back. So this one kind of puzzled me a little bit.
Yeah, so oh yeah, I do. Me and Corey were fans of him, man. There was off-season news about how he's doing like 100+ yards every single scrimmage in practice. We don't know what happened to him in the doghouse, but that's where he ended up. Didn't see him touch the field at all at Oregon. His parents are overly vocal on Twitter about everything. He was rumored at some point in time during this offseason to going to UCLA, which, like, dude, take my money. Like, I love that. But he ended up here at Cal, and now I'm like, because I have Jaden Ott ranked really highly, and now I'm like, I'm gonna be paying attention to the all-season news, because if the news coming out that Byron Cardwell is outperforming Jaden Ott, like, I'm back in. And then once week 1 rolls around, if that's true, like, I guarantee Corey's gonna be super annoying about it, because Corey was huge on him, and I liked him too. But this is a guy that looked really good, and I just want some answers, man. I want to know what happened. So we will find out by week 1.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll still have a role. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's no reason why he couldn't, have a good role as a complementary back, or they could have a total split workload. I mean, that's the reality of college football these days. If you don't have a super stud, there's no reason why he couldn't split and still see a lot of production. So, yeah, I'm not totally out on him, but it seemed like it was kind of an odd place. I would have rather seen him once again go like G5 or something, somewhere where he can get the ball to himself,
Well, I still think he's talented. I'm just saying, what if he beats out on? Which I mean, it shouldn't happen. But just what if, Dwight? What if? I do think he's capable of that, but I think I might just be a mad scientist thinking that.
Yeah, maybe they want to save it. Yeah, maybe they don't want to give him too much. I don't know. Who knows? And he'll transfer next year. All right, we'll head into the wide receivers real quick. We'll kind of blaze through these ones a little bit. There's a lot of names still in the portal that haven't declared yet. We'll go through those real quick. Ajayi Hall, Chris Marshall from LS. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but if you had to take a guess on how many schools Ajayi Hall has transferred to the last 7 years. So I'm including high school.
Oh, I thought it was 4, wasn't it?
7 now. Whenever he goes to his next school, will be his 7th school. He's moved
so he's
every
like the
single
JT
year
Daniels
or
of wide receivers. Okay.
Yeah. So he's just he's a locker room issue. He's a raw athlete. We'll never see what he's capable of. I'm actually thinking maybe he goes. I'm just doing a huge what if. I'm just going on what ifs now. Like, what if he goes to Deion Sanders, who connects very well with younger people? Maybe Deion Sanders is kind of like a Mike Tomlin, where he reels in these strong personalities and gets them going. So I'm definitely out, but I'm just trying to get the best case scenario here, where he goes to someone.
Definitely the best case scenario for him. Yeah, that's just the talent. The talent is there. Holy shit! I mean, it's there. So it's frustrating. Chris Marshall left LSU. He's still in the portal. LSU, no, Texas A&M. Yeah, that's right. He was one of the guys. Yeah, he's one of the guys that had the locker room issues in quotations. With
that one wasn't an issue. That was that's okay. He missed curfew one time. I mean, he's 18 in college, man. Like,
come on,
everybody does, And then he got caught smoking weed on the road, and that's just a bad decision making right there.
He must have broke it with one of the coach's daughters or something. So we don't know. There's probably something behind the scenes. So.
But he's crystal ball to TCU or Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is going to more of a run first offense, so I would definitely rather him go to TCU. But both those destinations are good spots.
Oh yeah, definitely. Deontay Thornton surprisingly leaving Oregon. I thought that was kind of odd. one of the ones I didn't see coming, especially with Nick's coming back. So, if you have anything on Thornton, or
just that I think he left because he wanted to be more productive. He definitely wasn't utilized. There's definitely a crowd that was saying he's better than Troy Franklin the offseason. I believe he was a high 4-star.
Right.
I want to say like 3 weeks ago, I heard Auburn was in the mix, but it's just been quiet. I don't really keep in on him. I wasn't a big fan of his game. I just thought he was a field stretcher and didn't really want that for my NFL rosters.
Right. Dominic Levitt, surprisingly, still in the portal. Of the Missouri wide receivers going, I did not think he would go. Don't really have much on him. I think he's a decent receiver that we'll probably see day through draft capital someday, and a good complimentary receiver. So, everything on him.
No, I'm just in agreement with you. I think he's on that spectrum of Cowing, Zay Flowers. Like that's kind of like where he plays. And I think we're seeing in the offseason the NFL does not really value those guys. Zay Flowers not getting the Senior Bowl invite, or he's going to the Shrine Bowl. I'll just say that.
Right.
And then Cowing's not even getting an invite to either one. Maybe he gets a late invite, but he clearly wasn't the first 3 rounds of invites. So these players that are like smaller stature but really productive in the middle, it seems like they're more CFF assets and not much on the college side. Not much on the NFL side.
Right. All right. A couple of the more interesting names, I think, that have committed. I don't want to make you just regurgitate what you said today, but I know you and Matt talked about Aaron Anderson going to LSU. Anderson looked great last spring, and I really thought he could carve out a role at Alabama, and I think he probably did too, and has taken his talents to the Bayou. What do you guys think of Aaron Anderson?
Yeah, I think Alabama brought in 5 slot receivers pretty much in the last class, and if you just oversimplified it and just said, how do I rank these 5 guys? He was clearly not in the top 2, and so he clearly didn't touch the field. LSU's, I think, a great school. I mean, when you think Devy, LSU's got to be one of the first schools you think of, so you're glad he's not going somewhere else. I don't know if they utilize him. He'll be sitting behind Kayshawn, and he'll be sitting behind. Guarantee will not be playing over those guys. And without touching the field at Alabama, he really might not touch the field again at LSU, at least year 1, maybe year 3, but next year.
Right. I like it. But another school, where he can at least stay visible and, not take a step down. So who knows? Allie Jennings, if you know him, you obviously play CFF. He's definitely a CFF darling from Old Dominion, moving to Virginia Tech. I think he's going to obviously not see the production, but maybe see more scout size. I don't know. It was kind of a puzzling move to me to go to Virginia Tech for him.
Yeah, I mean, they're just down the street from Old Dominion. So he transferred from Oklahoma so he transferred from top of Power 5 to the G5. And now he's going to the bottom of the Power 5 here at Virginia Tech, they're just a mess. I mean, they brought in Grant Wells last year, the quarterback who was CUSA twice, all like first team twice. So I thought he could be a serviceable quarterback, and they look terrible with Grant Wells. I don't know what the coaching staff is doing over there. This was very puzzling. It was great that he got to the Power 5, but he picked probably like one of the 5 worst schools to go to in the Power 5. So, and he already proved he couldn't compete against Power 5 early on. So I'm not holding my breath here on this one. So I think he'll be just lost.
I'd have loved to see him go to like North Carolina.
Yeah,
he'd have been a great replacement for Josh Downs, like just perfect.
Whatever guy they take out of the portal, I'm gonna be excited about. Like I'm hoping Devontae Walker. He's a North Carolina native.
I thought that's what they were saying in our chat, but I don't remember.
I guess
it's not locked in. Yeah. Okay. You guys got my hopes up. I was all like the dude with the nipples and the water boy. Like, yes, please.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just in our Slack spreading propaganda because that would be great.
Okay. So I got my hopes up. Damn you, Vallerie. Damn it. Yeah. All right. Dazon Stribling goes from Washington State, where he was the man, to Oklahoma State, which is kind of an odd move for him. I don't know if you got anything on Stribling. So.
I didn't like his profile. He was, I think, number 2 in receiving in his freshman group. But when you watch his tape, I just didn't think he offered anything. He operated in the short area. He had reliable hands, but like athletically, not special. And then once he like actually caught the ball, for a guy his size, he was pretty developed physically for a freshman. He didn't offer any yak ability. He wasn't, no contact balance, no speed, no burst, no cutting. It was like I caught the ball and the first defender got him, and that was it. So he wasn't too productive this year. Goes to OK State, and I don't really know where he fits on that depth chart. Like I talked about the hypothetical. He might not really. I think he'll touch the field. I don't think this is a stock up for him though. I'm not really sure how much he gets on the field.
Yeah, kind of an odd one. Yeah, I didn't understand it a whole lot. So, real quick, JoJo Earl, TCU, you got anything on that?
Oh yes, JoJo Earl. I mean, I don't know about you. Me and Corey talk Alabama a lot, and just how no one took the reins of that passing core. But JoJo Earl is a dynamic slot receiver. Got hurt, came back, did nothing, and I couldn't tell you why. I'm assuming that he just wasn't 100% from injury. But now he goes to Sonny Dykes, who's put players in the NFL from SMU. He's putting players in the NFL from TCU. They usually feature on the outside. He plays in the slot. So I will be very curious to see if they want to move him to the outside. And if that's the case, JoJo Earl is demonstrating a versatile asset. And at the NFL level, he's going to be used as that chess piece to be moved all over the formation. You know, Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, like those guys, those wide receiver ones are guys over the formation. So if JoJo Earl can get it together and just show that this last year was just a fluke, I am so in, Dwight. I am so in.
Right. All right. Yeah, and they need somebody. I mean, they need somebody to emerge. So I'm not sure what they're doing at quarterback after Duggan. I haven't really looked at what life after Duggan would be like. So,
right.
So who knows what's next week to see you.
They had Chandler Morris, who got hurt early on. Chandler Morris won the job early on. So I
liked him.
I want to say in like the one game we saw, he wasn't really great. So, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, just real quick, I wanted to mention one more name, Travis Hunter. Is he a wide receiver? Is he cornerback? He's in the portable. He's in the portable. They stuck him in the portable. I don't know. He's going to Colorado. I don't know why he's teasing us, but it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, he's got his 100,000 followers. Like, let us know you already got it.
I just double checked to make sure he hadn't announced. I don't see anything yet. So just a very few tight ends. Eric All, very highly ranked tight end from Michigan, is going to Iowa, tight end university. You got to kind of like that for him. Then a couple really good guys, Kyle Morlock and Jaheim Bell, both go to Florida State. I love both of those moves. And I think they can both exist on that team because they're such different guys. You know, Morlock's more of a traditional tight end, but can also be a strong pass catcher, where Jaheim Bell's more the move tight end that can bounce all over. So I don't know if you got anything on those three guys. Or
I do love the move by Eric All. I think this is a huge stock up for him. Kyler Morlock, I looked at him a little bit. The dude's just like, he's like 6'7", 250. He's just a huge freak athlete. I think raw production. So kind of, I'm just kind of drawing a comparison for narratives, but that's very similar to Darnell Washington, who wasn't productive until this past year. That's probably best case scenario. And then Jaheim Bell, I just wasn't a fan. He's an H-back. He's undersized. I think best case scenario, like pro size, best case scenario is like Jonnu Smith, and that's not really an exciting fantasy option right now.
Right. I like it. All right, and then just a couple. I mean, we're running a little bit long on time, but I do want to talk about a couple of the bowl performances so far. Kavorian Barnes, UTSA is a name I think you should have on your radar for Devy. 22 carries for 138 yards in their bowl game. He's going to replacing Sincere McCormick, right? I'm drawing a blank here for some reason.
He went to the draft last year, but yes.
Yeah. So Barnes is a guy who, I mean, he's getting a little bit of a guy. A lot of the guys at C2C love him, and he looked really, really good in the bowl game the other day. And Frank Gore Jr., of course, you know the name, Southern Miss, had 21 carries, 329 yards, 2 touchdowns, also threw a touchdown. Unfortunately, he's a little bit smaller. He chose to stay at Southern Miss. I think his path to the NFL is muddled, but you might still want to have him. Somebody's going to take a shot on him, I think. He's going to end up on an NFL radar just because of his name. So, you got anything on those two guys? Or
they're just G5 running backs. It's super rare for them to get drafted with any meaningful draft capital. So I'm really not. They're not on my radar. I am familiar with both these players. I don't think they'll be doing anything in the NFL.
Right. My other two guys are also G5. So, yeah, it's kind of all we've seen in the bowl games thus far is G5 guys. So, GT, you know, obviously the C2C guys love him a lot. He looked phenomenal in his bowl game, 28 for 178 and 1. Rasheen Ali made his return for Marshall, 15 carries, 92 yards, and a touchdown. It was nice to see him back on the field, too. So,
I hope. I hope Genty hits the portal next year, because I think my hot take in the off season was that he's going to have a Jahmyr Gibbs type freshman season, which I feel like probably got 85% of that, but it's G5, it's not P5, so it really just means a little bit less here. But he's been phenomenal as a true freshman, and I really want him to become a Devy asset. He's got a smaller frame. He's 5'8", 205. He's probably maxed out, honestly, at that size. But he demonstrates a full workhorse ability, maybe just to like work on his pass blocking. But he's definitely made steps while playing as a freshman to being a better runner down the middle. And he's been a great pass catcher. I mean, in high school, he's like lining up out wide, so you don't have to worry about his hands or his catching ability. And his running ability has shown improvement. So I think this guy is, out of all the G5 running backs that are left out there, this might be the one that becomes a Devy asset.
Right. Yeah, I love of these four in particular. He's way above the other three, in my opinion. So, a guy who I could see working his way to day 2 draft capital, like you said, with the right landing spot and the right system. And the size is not, 5'8", 205 is not perfect, but it's not bad either. It's a good stout size at 5'8". So, I really like him a lot, what I've seen. But yeah, I want to see him get to a bigger school. And all right, Mike. Thank you so much for joining me kind of last minute. So it was kind of all just kind of thrown together. But I mean, I knew I needed to get you on and talk to you again. It's been a while. So tell everybody where they can find you, what you're working on, man.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @FF_Dirty Mike. You can find me on the Back to Devy podcast at Campus to Canton. Working on the Devy guide here coming up, working on recruiting a little bit. Yeah, dude, I'm just love talking football. And thanks for having me on, by the way, too. I had a good time here. I love talking football.
Yeah, anytime. Last time I talked to you, you guys were just getting ready to launch Back to Devy, and I love the logo. I love the music. So, and you guys have great content too. So, it's the trifecta. You hit it right on the head, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
All right, thank you all listening to this episode of the Devy Big Board, part of the Rookie Big Board Network. We'll be back with more Devy Big Board. It's going to be a couple weeks. Skip and I are taking a couple weeks off, and then I think I'm going to venture off and do the rookie. Gosh, why am I drawing a blank at my own podcast? The Daily Draft Report. So Skip will be back in a couple weeks at least with another co-host for a little while I do that. Check out all our shows, including Matt's Rookie Scouting Reports. Thank you all for listening, and have a great Christmas.
Go Cats.
Great Christmas. Who the hell says great Christmas? I am so fucking white.
That's all right.
I hate that shit.